over 60. Watch for these early signs of a weak heart. Listen closely, because this is not just getting older. This is your heart trying to whisper before it ever screams. And the scary truth, most people always ignore these words until it's too late. You feel a little tired and say, it's normal. You get slightly out of breath and think, maybe I just walked too fast. You feel pressure in your chest and convince yourself it will go away. But what if those small moments are not normal aging? What if they are early warning signals of a weakening heart? Because here's the reality doctors in the USA often see. Heart disease doesn't usually start with a collapse. It starts quietly, slowly, almost invisibly. One of the first early signs is unusual fatigue. Not the normal we're tired. This is different. This is waking up tired, staying tired, and feeling drained even after simple tasks like walking to the mailbox or taking a shower. When your heart is struggling, it can't pump blood efficiently, and your body starts running on low energy mode. Then comes another subtle sign, shortness of breath. At first, it happens only while climbing stairs. Later, even walking across a room can feel like a workout. People often blame age, weight, or lack of exercise. But sometimes, it's the heart saying, I am working too hard. And here's what makes it even more dangerous. These symptoms don't come with alarms, no sirens, no flashing lights, just small discomforts that you slowly start accepting as normal. Life after 60, but your heart is not supposed to struggle in silence. Another early clue many people miss is reduced stamina. You used to walk longer distances, enjoy gardening, or do light activities without thinking twice. Now, everything feels heavier, slower, more exhausting. This is where most people make the critical mistake. They adapt instead of investigating. They reduce activity instead of checking the cause. And that delay can be costly, because when the heart weakens, the body doesn't crash overnight. It gradually loses power, like a phone battery that no longer charges fully. Because here's the truth most people don't want to hear. A weak heart doesn't always announce itself with pain. Sometimes it speaks in silence. You are sitting on your couch, doing nothing stressful, and suddenly you feel uncomfortable. Not exactly pain, not exactly illness, just something off. That feeling, it matters more than people think. One of the most dangerous early signs is chest pressure or tightness that comes and goes. It may feel like a heavy hand pressing on your chest or a band tightening slowly. It might disappear after a few minutes. And that's exactly why people ignore it. They say it's nothing serious. But in reality, intermittent chest discomfort can be the heart's early distress signal. Then there's something even more deceptive, swelling in the feet, ankles, or legs. You might notice your shoes feeling tighter at the end of the day, or your socks leaving deeper marks than usual. It seems harmless, even normal. But when the heart is not pumping efficiently, fluid can start to build up in the lower body. This is your circulation quietly struggling. Another subtle but powerful warning is irregular heartbeat or palpitations. That sudden flutter in your chest, that skipped beat feeling, that moment when your heart seems to race for no reason while you are just sitting still. Many people is your age, but when it becomes frequent, it can point toward a heart that is under strain. And here is the emotional part. These signs don't always come together. They come one by one, slowly, quietly, like small cracks in a wall that look harmless at first. But inside, the structure is weakening. You may still be walking, talking, laughing, while your heart is working harder than ever just to keep up. That mismatch between how you feel and what is actually happening inside your body is what makes heart problems so dangerous. Doctors in the USA often warn that people wait for big symptoms, like crushing chest pain or collapse, but by then, The heart has already been under stress for months, sometimes years. That's why awareness is everything. Because the earlier you listen to these silent signals, the more control you still have. Now, here's where things get serious. Because this is the part most people don't connect until it's almost too late. Your daily habits, yes, those small, normal things you do every day, might actually be silently pushing your heart toward weakness. Let's start with something simple: too much sitting. In today's world, especially after 60, many people sit for hours watching TV, scrolling, resting, or just passing time. It feels harmless, comfortable, even, but long periods of inactivity slow down circulation, weaken blood flow, and force the heart to work harder when you finally move. And over Chimidive's quietly stressed tongue trigger. Then there's high-salt, processed food habits, that extra salty snack, that packaged food, that just a little more taste mindset. It doesn't feel dangerous in the moment, but inside your body, salt increases fluid retention, raises blood pressure, and slowly puts pressure on the heart walls. It's like making your heart pump through resistance every single day. And here's a habit nobody takes seriously enough: poor sleep. You may think, I'm just older. I wake up often, but disrupted sleep affects heart recovery. Your heart needs deep rest cycles to repair itself. Without that, stress hormones stay high, blood pressure fluctuates, and the heart never truly resets. Now, listen carefully. One of the most ignored habits is ignoring mild symptoms repeatedly. You feel a little discomfort. You think it's nothing. You feel tired. You say it's age. You feel breathless. You blame routine. But every time you dismiss a signal, you delay awareness. And delay is exactly what allows heart problems to grow silently. Even emotional stress plays a major role. Constant worry, loneliness, or mental pressure doesn't just affect your mind, it directly impacts your heart rhythm, blood pressure, and overall cardiovascular stability. Think of your heart like an engine. If you keep running it without rest, fuel quality, or maintenance, it will still work for a while, but silently the wear and tear builds up. And then one day, it struggles to keep up with even simple demands. That's why doctors emphasize lifestyle changes before medications become necessary, because prevention is not dramatic, but it is powerful. The hardest truth: most heart problems after 60 are not sudden. They are built quietly through years of habits, ignored signs, and I'm fine assumptions. Now, we reach the stage where the body stops whispering and starts speaking louder. Even then, many people still try to ignore it, because the mind says, I'm fine, but the body is quietly saying something is wrong. One of the most alarming, early to mid-warning signs is persistent shortness of breath, even at rest. This is not the breathlessness you feel after climbing stairs. This is different. This is sitting on a chair, watching TV, and still feeling like you cannot get enough air. It creates anxiety, a sense of discomfort, like something inside is not working in rhythm anymore. When the heart weakens significantly, it struggles to circulate oxygen properly, and your lungs start compensating. That's when breathing becomes a battle, even when you are doing absolutely nothing. Then comes a deeply concerning sign: constant fatigue that does not improve with rest. You sleep, you rest, you take breaks, but the exhaustion stays. It feels like your energy has been drained from the inside out. This is not normal aging fatigue anymore. This is your body running on reduced cardiac efficiency. Every movement feels heavier because your system is not getting the oxygen and nutrients it desperately needs. Another red flag is confusion, dizziness, or difficulty focusing. Yes, even your brain gets affected. When the heart cannot pump enough blood, the brain receives less oxygen. That leads to lightheadedness, memory fog, and sudden moments where you feel not yourself. People often dismiss it as stress or age-related forgetfulness, but in reality, it can be linked to reduced heart performance. And here is something that creates real fear when it happens. Chest discomfort during minimal activity, not intense exercise, not heavy lifting, just simple walking inside the house, or getting up too quickly, and suddenly that pressure returns. It might fade quickly, but its return pattern is what makes it dangerous. At this stage, the body is no longer giving subtle hints, it is sending repeated alerts. But the most emotional part is this. People often normalize these symptoms because they come and go. One day you feel okay. The next day you feel weak. So you convince yourself it's not serious. But heart conditions are not measured by how you feel on your best day. They are measured by what happens on your worst day and how often those worst days start appearing. Now we come to the final truth, the part that ties everything together, because by now you've seen the pattern. The heart doesn't usually fail suddenly. It weakens slowly, silently, and gives multiple warning signs along the way. And the most dangerous part, people see the signs, but don't connect them. They think fatigue is normal. They think breathlessness is age. They think swelling, dizziness, chest pressure are just part of life now. But your heart is not asking you to accept decline. It is asking you to pay attention. Let's bring it all together. If you are knowing fatigue, shortness of breath, swelling in legs, irregular heartbeat, chest pressure, dizziness, or reduced stamina, these are not random issues. They are pieces of the same puzzle. And that puzzle is your heart trying to tell you it is under stress. Here is the emotional reality most people avoid. The heart rarely gives one dramatic warning. It gives many small ones. Quines, easy to ignore ones. And over time, those small signs become the reason for big emergencies. But there is also real hope. Because early awareness changes everything. People who recognize these signs early consult doctors, adjust lifestyle, improve diet, manage stress, and stay active. They often prevent serious heart events completely. The difference between a crisis and control is often just awareness. And yes, even small changes matter. A short daily walk, reducing salt, sleeping better, managing stress, listening to your body instead of ignoring it. These are not minor habits. These are protective shields for your heart. Now, listen carefully to this final message. Your heart has been with you since your first breath. It has never taken a break. Once, it has worked every second of your life without complaint. But even the strongest worker needs care. So if your body is speaking to you right now through tiredness, breathlessness, discomfort, or unusual changes, don't silence it with excuses. Listen, act, respond early, because the goal is not just to live longer. The goal is to live stronger, clearer, and with a heart that can keep up with your life, not struggle through it. And if you take just one thing from this entire message, let it be this. Your heart rarely fails without warning. It only gets ignored until the warnings become impossible to avoid.